Imagine being born into one of the most powerful and controversial families in your country. Your home isn't just a house, it's the Malacañang Palace, the heart of political power in the Philippines. That's the world Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. entered on September 13, 1957, in Manila. As the only son of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., the 10th President of the Philippines, and Imelda Marcos, a woman whose influence transcended politics and culture, Bongbong was destined for a life that was anything but ordinary. From a young age, he was groomed to continue the towering legacy of the Marcos dynasty. Wealth, privilege, and the weight of public expectation shaped every aspect of his upbringing. Growing up, Bongbong was no stranger to the inner workings of government. He often accompanied his father to high-profile events, witnessing the power plays and decision-making at the highest levels. Life in the palace came with unparalleled perks: elite education, exclusive access to the most powerful figures in the country, and a front-row seat to history in the making. But behind the grandeur was a life under constant scrutiny, a responsibility that few could imagine. And yet, despite living in a bubble of privilege, Bongbong's childhood wasn't all politics. Inside the palace walls, he enjoyed a relatively normal life. By Marcos standards, surrounded by family and the luxuries of a world most Filipinos could only dream of. However, that normal was always overshadowed by the political turbulence of his father's regime, a reality that would profoundly shape his future. From an early age, politics wasn't just a backdrop. It was his reality. Growing up as the son of the Philippines' most powerful man, Bongbong was immersed in governance and leadership. His education started at Salle Green Hills, a prestigious private school in Manila. While his academic performance was average, he stood out in extracurricular activities, especially sports. These early years built a solid foundation, but his family had far grander ambitions. They wanted to prepare him for a role not just in the Philippines, but on the global stage. At just 13 years old, Bongbong took a life-changing step. In 1970, he was sent to the United Kingdom to study at Worth School, a renowned Benedictine institution in West Sussex. Known for its strict academic rigor and discipline, the school wasn't just about books, it was about building character. This experience wasn't just an education, it was a gateway to a broader perspective. At Worth, Bongbong encountered a diverse group of peers, opening his eyes to different cultures and ideologies. Here, he gained exposure to Western education and political ideas, worlds apart from the governance style his father was known for. These years were pivotal in refining his English fluency, a skill that would later prove invaluable in his political career, allowing him to engage seamlessly with foreign diplomats and international audiences. After completing his studies at Worth, Bongbong took another leap forward, enrolling at Oxford University, one of the world's most prestigious academic institutions. He pursued a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics, PPE, a program famously known for shaping global leaders. This wasn't just a degree, it was a calculated choice. PPE offered a perfect blend of political theory, economics, and philosophy, equipping him with the intellectual tools for public service. At Oxford, Bongbong was immersed in debates and discussions about global politics, economics, and philosophy. These conversations weren't just academic, they were a training ground for the challenges he would face in the political arena. Yet, his time at Oxford wasn't without its share of controversies, adding layers of complexity to his journey toward leadership. In recent years, it's been revealed that Bongbong didn't actually complete his degree at Oxford University. While he attended classes and completed portions of the coursework, he ultimately fell short of meeting the graduation requirements. This revelation has fueled criticism, with opponents accusing him of inflating his academic record, a thorny issue that continues to shadow his political career. After his stint at Oxford, Bongbong set his sights on the United States, enrolling in the prestigious Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. in the early 1980s. Wharton, a powerhouse in business education, seemed like the perfect stepping stone for a young man groomed to take on leadership roles. His goal? A master's in business administration, MBA, a degree that would arm him with the expertise to navigate the financial intricacies of governance and business. However, as history often repeats itself, Bongbong's Wharton journey also ended prematurely. He left the program without completing his MBA, reportedly to step into a more active role within his father's administration. The pressure to rise within the ranks of the Marcos political dynasty outweighed the allure of an Ivy League diploma. By 1980, at just 23 years old, Bongbong officially entered the political arena. His debut? Winning the vice governorship of Ilocos Norte, a province synonymous with the Marcos legacy. This wasn't merely a political role. It was a calculated move to fortify the family's grip on key territories in the Philippines. At the time, his father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., ruled the nation with unparalleled authority, having declared martial law in 1972 and solidifying his power ever since. While Bongbong's role as vice governor was largely symbolic, it served as his introduction to the world of governance. Beneath the surface, it was a crash course in the complexities of local administration and the dynamics of political power. As vice governor, Bongbong served alongside his aunt, Elizabeth Marcos Caon, the sitting governor of the province. This setup wasn't just a coincidence. It was a strategic move to tighten the Marcos family's grip on Ilocos Norte, their political stronghold. Despite being young and relatively inexperienced, Bongbong quickly adapted, learning the ropes of governance in real time. His unique position gave him a front-row seat to the inner workings of provincial politics, how decisions were made, alliances built, and power maintained. Then, in 1983, at just 26 years old, Bongbong made a bold leap forward in his career. He was elected governor of Ilocos Norte, taking over the reins from his aunt. This wasn't just a title upgrade, it was a massive step up in responsibility and visibility. As the province's leader, Bongbong was now tasked with steering Ilocos Norte's development, a role that demanded tangible results. During his time as governor, Bongbong focused on what would become the hallmark of his administration: infrastructure. He championed the construction of roads, bridges, and public facilities, transforming the province's landscape and boosting its economic potential. These projects weren't just local initiatives. They were aligned with his father's broader vision of modernization. To many, they symbolized progress. To others, they were a calculated effort to solidify the Marcos family's legacy. Bongbong's efforts earned him popularity among his constituents, cementing his status as a key political figure in the region. But his tenure didn't exist in a vacuum. It was inextricably tied to the shadow of his father's authoritarian rule. As part of the Marcos dynasty, Bongbong's policies and decisions closely mirrored the national agenda set by Ferdinand Marcos Sr., blurring the lines between his personal governance and the overarching rule of his family. In 1986, everything changed. The People Power Revolution, a peaceful uprising of millions demanding an end to Ferdinand Marcos Sr.'s dictatorship, brought the family's reign crashing down. As the streets of Manila swelled with chants of freedom, the Marcos family was forced to flee the Philippines, seeking refuge in Hawaii. Exile was a harsh reality check. Stripped of their political power and wealth, the Marcoses found themselves entangled in legal battles on foreign soil. The US government seized much of their assets, and lawsuits piled up, alleging corruption, human rights abuses, and the accumulation of ill-gotten wealth. For Bongbong, the years in Hawaii were a period of reckoning and reflection. But the Marcos family wasn't one to stay in the shadows for long. In 1991, 5 years after their ouster, they were allowed to return to the Philippines. For Bongbong, this was more than a homecoming. It was the start of a determined political comeback. By 1992, he was back in the arena, running for a congressional seat in the 2nd District of Ilocos Norte, the family's stronghold. His campaign resonated with voters, and he secured the position, marking his return to public office and the beginning of his effort to restore the Marcos legacy. As a congressman, Bongbong focused on practical, ground-level improvements for his province. He championed infrastructure projects, agricultural development, and energy policies, all aimed at improving the livelihoods of his constituents. While some saw this as a genuine commitment to governance, others viewed it as a calculated move to rebuild the family's image in Philippine politics. Despite the lingering shadows of his family's controversial past, Bongbong steadily rebuilt his career, with Ilocos Norte standing firmly behind him. The province, where the Marcos name still commanded deep loyalty, became the foundation for his resurgence. His return to power wasn't just a personal victory. It symbolized the enduring grip of political dynasties in the Philippines and the Marcos family's remarkable ability to reshape its image despite the dark legacy of martial law. After serving in the House of Representatives, Bongbong returned to familiar territory in 1998 when he was elected governor of Ilocos Norte once again. This second term as governor showcased his focus on progress. Bongbong prioritized modernizing the province with projects in tourism, agriculture, and energy. One of his most notable achievements was championing renewable energy, spearheading the development of wind farms that positioned Ilocos Norte as a leader in clean energy, a move that gained widespread recognition and boosted the region's economy. But Bongbong's ambitions extended far beyond provincial leadership. In 2010, he made his way back to the national stage, successfully running for a seat in the Philippine Senate. His election was a significant milestone, solidifying his place as a national figure. As a senator, Bongbong chaired critical committees like local government and public works, focusing on improving local governance, advancing infrastructure projects, and crafting economic policies, issues that reflected priorities similar to those of his father's administration during its early years. With his national reputation on the rise, Bongbong made a bold move in 2016. He ran for vice president. This campaign marked a turning point in his political career, signaling his ambition to climb to the very top of Philippine politics. His vice presidential bid was more than just a campaign. It was a calculated step toward reclaiming the power and prestige once held by his family. Central to his campaign was the theme of national unity. Bongbong positioned himself as the candidate who could heal the country's divisions, promising a new chapter while subtly leaning on revisionist narratives. His rhetoric cast the martial law era, a time widely remembered for its abuses, as a period of peace and prosperity. This reimagining of history struck a chord with some voters while sparking fierce criticism from others. Bongbong's vice presidential campaign was undoubtedly a pivotal moment, one that reignited debates about the Marcos legacy and set the stage for his ultimate push toward the presidency. During his 2016 vice presidential bid, Bongbong leaned heavily on his political resume, spotlighting his tenure as both a senator and governor. He portrayed himself as a leader who could deliver economic stability and development, an image bolstered by his calculated messaging. But it wasn't just traditional campaigning that drove his efforts. Bongbong's team embraced social media with an almost unmatched vigor, flooding digital platforms with pro-Marcos narratives. These posts often reimagined the martial law era as a time of discipline, progress, and national pride, downplaying or outright dismissing its darker chapters. This strategy wasn't without controversy, but it struck a chord with many voters who felt nostalgic for the perceived order and prosperity of the Marcos years. Despite this, the 2016 campaign ended in disappointment for Bongbong. He lost his bid for vice president. But this setback was far from the end of his political story. It was merely the beginning of a longer play. Fast forward 6 years to 2022, and Bongbong didn't just make a comeback. He claimed the biggest prize in Philippine politics. Running on a platform of unity under his widely recognized nickname, BBM, he secured a historic landslide victory to become the 17th president of the Philippines. His campaign wasn't just about his own name. It also featured a powerhouse partnership with Sara Duterte, the daughter of then outgoing President Rodrigo Duterte, who ran alongside him as vice president. Together, they presented a compelling image of continuity and strong leadership that resonated with millions. The 2022 presidential election wasn't just a win for Bongbong. It was the ultimate triumph for the Marcos name, solidifying his place in the nation's history books. Love him or hate him, there's no denying that Bongbong's rise to power is a story of ambition, strategy, and an ability to connect with voters in a rapidly evolving digital age. But now, what do you think about BBM's journey? Let's hear your thoughts.